CTV News at 6 with Joe Perkins.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. We begin with a series of fires that have left dozens of people across the province homeless. In the last 24 hours, there have been at least 2 major fires on the mainland. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, an update to a Christmas blaze that gutted 2 suites in a Nanaimo home. The nightmare before Christmas left 4 people homeless and 1 person with serious burns. This week, neighbors told CTV News they wanted to help. And as CTV's Scott Cunningham shows us tonight, the community is coming through on its word, delivering a late Christmas present.
Every time you look, there's something else. There's another broken window you didn't see before. And
coming home means stepping over ash and debris. A Christmas blaze still fresh in the minds of those it stole so much from.
I was crying and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that had happened. And
the unwelcome holiday memory was captured in time. A Christmas Eve fire guts a 2-unit rental home. The cause, a fondue dinner gone wrong.
You can still read some of it. The edges are kind of burnt.
Sifting through the wreckage is one of the displaced renters. She was moving in at the time of the fire and lost far less than 3 other tenants and 2 family members who were spending the holidays.
Alex and her dad, they both got 1st-degree burns on their hands. Her mom has 3rd-degree burns and is in the hospital in Victoria.
As quickly as flames gutted this downtown home, something else caught fire. A sense of community spirit for a group of people who lost everything.
As the charred remains of the home were still unknown to most of the renters, the Old City Quarter community rallied, taking up a cash collection.
Well, I think it was necessary for one thing, and we all need help at certain times.
Goodwill went digital when Facebook and Kijiji pages asked for items torched in the fire.
Several of the stores in town have donated brand new mattresses for them, furniture, right down to kitchen utensils, everything, so that because they've lost everything.
Donations quickly piled up. So many clothes were handed over in the hours following the fire. The renters are now paying the Goodwill forward, handing over the excess to women's shelters.
We're hoping that maybe we can help them out too. And everyone deserves support because we're not the only ones that encountered this during the holidays.
As tenants who were away for the holidays arrive home to find destruction, help will still be needed. To get involved, go to Kijiji.com and search McCleary House Fire. Scott Cunningham, CTV News, Nanaimo.
Across the province, it was a busy night for firefighters. On the mainland, a suspicious explosion is being blamed for a fire that forced more than a dozen people from their Surrey homes last night. Just before 8, a fire ripped through 2 trailers in a mobile home. Police say 15 people were forced from their homes. Police, along with fire crews and a bomb-sniffing dog, was called to the scene. The fire is being called suspicious.
All I heard was the loud bang, and then the lights stayed on for a few minutes, and then they went.
Firefighters and police investigators spent the entire night on scene and were back today. The cause is still under investigation. Also from last night, firefighters in the BC resort community of Kimberley spent their night battling a large fire in the historic downtown core. Fire broke out at the Kootenay Cycle Works building, a pedestrian-only outdoor shopping center. Nearby stores and restaurants were evacuated. At least 1 business was gutted, and neighboring businesses have sustained smoke and water damage. There are no reports of any injuries. The cause there is also under investigation. Well, with the last week of 2012 turning into a week of fires, firefighters on the island are sending out a reminder tonight with the hopes the rest of the year will be blaze-free. The holiday season isn't over yet, and firefighters know people still plan on celebrating. To help reduce risk, firefighters say it's important to remove any flammables, such as wrapping paper or extra packaging that could be in your house and could cause clutter.
Making sure you're organized, making sure that there's always, clear paths. If you're using any candles or flammable decorations, they need to be very secured and have a safe area around them. It's just basic stuff, but I think it's a lot of little things. I don't think it's any one thing.
Typically, this is the busiest time of year for firefighters. If you're planning on going out for New Year's and ringing in 2013 with a bang, firefighters say be extra careful.
Watch your celebrating. Make sure that somebody's in control and watching out for the family home.
Candles are also a major problem this time of year. If you do spot a fire, the best thing you can do is call 911 immediately. Luckily, a fire didn't break out this afternoon in Souk. Traffic was briefly interrupted after a vehicle began leaking diesel onto West Coast Road in the 7100 block around 2. Police and fire crews along with a sand truck were called. Traffic was rerouted briefly around West Coast Road. Traffic is now back to normal. Well, if you're like many, chances are taking down the Christmas tree is on your to-do list this weekend. If you're looking for a place to take your tree and you want a real chipper, Reynolds Secondary may be your spot. For donations, students will chip off all of the branches themselves before recycling the tree. All of the money goes towards the school's band program.
It generates more revenue if we actually chip it ourselves, so there's more money to go into the band program and to go to the kids. And also, well, it's hard labor and it's fun.
This is tree chipping season. For a full list of places and dates for where you can take your tree, you can go to the CRD's website at crd.bc.ca. Well, our province's MLAs are taking a break from their duties over Christmas, but the halls of the legislature sure haven't been quiet this week. A small group of young politicians from around the province are taking over the Capitol building and doing politics their way. Instead of hitting the slopes or the malls, nearly 100 people between the ages of 16 and 21 are spending part of their Christmas break learning the ropes of the provincial government. The participants in the BC Youth Parliament spend the week laying out their plans for the upcoming year in the form of legislation that must be passed. This includes laying the groundwork for smaller regional youth parliaments to be held all over the province throughout the year. The Youth Liberal leader says the group is a unique bunch.
We love to have conversations about democracy, about the parliamentary process, about legislation. I can't say that about most of the other people that I know.
It's not what you expect for 16 to 21-year-olds, but it's an amazing group of people that we actually attract each year. I've had a fantastic shadow cabinet this week who, I mean, they're just very smart individuals who really want to be involved in the organization. They want to stay engaged, and it's meant that we've had a very successful session.
The youth members have spent the week debating several private member resolutions, including in opposition to Ontario's breed-specific dog control legislation and in support of reinstating capital punishment. This is the 84th youth session in the BC legislature. Speaking of annual traditions, a tradition is back for another year on the Mid-Island. For nearly 40 years, bird counters have spent their Christmas tallying up the island's bird population, and this year, the group needs your help. Tomorrow, bird enthusiasts are planning to meet in Nanaimo before setting out on the count. The counting is a way to help contribute to the growing body of knowledge on North America's bird population. Organizer Ryan Cathers says approximately 60 people have signed up, but more people are needed.
The Christmas bird count gives us valuable data about trends across North America. So the count is going all across Canada and the States, and we're able to take basically a snapshot of what is happening with the birds at a very specific period of time all across North America.
Typically, the counters meet at the Nanaimo Bastion as the center point. From there, a map is used to circle out a 15-kilometer radius, an area just big enough to get a good snapshot of the winter bird population. If you think you may want to take part but don't know much about birds, organizers say, hey, that's quite all right. An extensive bird background is not necessary.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. We're avid bird watchers and we feed our birds out our backyard, so it was quite enjoyable to count the birds, find out how many birds actually come through Nanaimo.
For more information on tomorrow's bird count or to sign up, you can call 250-714-3947. It's that time of year again, a year to look back on the top stories. On New Year's Day at 5, we have our special Year in Review show, but we are not the only ones compiling lists and singling out the year's best stories. The Globe and Mail has made its own list of the year's top 5 most read life stories, and coming in at number 4, CTV Vancouver Island.
It's time now for a full look at your forecast with Astrid. Maybe we can canoodle before you get into it about,
We're not going to be canoodling. What?
Oh, I thought canoodle meant chat.
I didn't actually know the definition of canoodling.
You've gone international, my friend.
He sure did, and Andrew took the whole thing in stride. The Canadian newspaper said the blooper gave its readers a good chuckle. The views for the video don't stop there either. The video has been watched millions of times and counting on YouTube. In our follow-up story by Adam Sawatsky, Andrew had a good chuckle himself. Adam will have more on canoodling and some other lighter moments from the year 2012 here at Vancouver Island this Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Finally tonight, for 50 years, he's been swinging his way into the hearts and memories of superhero fans around the world. But Spider-Man's web is losing its stick, courtesy of its creators. In its highly anticipated 700th issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Comics has gone and done the unthinkable.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
For 50 years, Peter Parker has been suiting up for television and Hollywood, but that is all in the past. In the latest edition, which you can find on the shelf at your local comic shop, Peter Parker dies. Staff at Curious Comics on Johnson Street didn't want to give away too many details, but they do say the latest twist was unexpected, and it has caused a bit of a divide among Spider-Man fans.
I didn't see it coming. It was a shock. It's hard not to get caught up sort of in it because it is a pretty big storyline. It's got a lot of people talking, a lot of people upset, a lot of people not very happy in the way that Marvel's starting up a new title, too. But
now, it may just be a sales tactic to lure in new Spider-Man fans. If it is, it wouldn't be the first time a superhero has died in action. Superman and Batman have also died in the line of duty, but both of them came back. With the 700th issue now out, the storyline is sending shockwaves across the country.
It's something that I think actually at the root of it kind of betrays the entire history of the character.
Some people think it's really cool. Some people think it's really, they're really frustrated. Marvel's done some really messed up stuff with Spider-Man over the last few years.
But this is not the end. According to comic enthusiasts, in early January, the series will relaunch as Superior Spider-Man, with Dr. Octopus, also known as Otto Octavius, taking over as Spidey.